We're back for another episode of Married at First Sight. Season 18, what is this, episode 12? I don't know. I'll put it in the title. Okay, guess what, y'all? I figured out why Ikechi is so mad. And it's not what you think. Hit the like and subscribe button as the intro plays. We'll get to why Ikechi is so mad a little bit later. But first, let's start off with this episode. And if you're new here, we don't go through all the details. I mean, I don't go through all the details. It's just me, not we. I don't go through all the details. I just tell it as it comes to mind.
I'm sorry!
Alright, so what comes to mind first is the episode did open with Thomas and Camille on the way to Grandma's house. They're on the way to Grandma's house. All right, if you've ever lived in Chicago, did y'all notice that they were driving down Lakeshore Drive and then bam, they're in the country? I did because I lived there. I lived there for many years. Anyhow, so they get to Camille's grandma's house and who's there? Camille's dad and her Uncle Keon. Uncle Keon's kind of easy on the eyes and he just kept smiling and smiling. So, you know, they're at Grandma's house. Grandma's real cute. Grandma's a little short lady, smaller than everybody. Camille's dad was there. Camille has her dad's mouth. She looks a lot like her mom and her dad. I kept seeing her dad when he was talking, like, all in the mouth. It's all in the mouth. Anyhow, he was talking about stuff I didn't care about. I don't care about Camille's failed WNBA career or lack thereof.
Camille, you're a stupid
I don't care. He wished Camille was more aggressive on the court and he had to talk to her about it. Who cares? Uncle Keon's still there smiling and Thomas is there, you know, being the perfect, you know, boyfriend, husband, gentleman, you know, listening to these stories, but he's just as boring as these stories. So, hey, whatever. So, Grandma says, Camille, she didn't talk. All she did was point.
Get your finger out of my face!
Next. Okay, who's next? Who's next on the boring list? Because this episode was so boring and dry. This was that A Letter to Myself episode continued. We got Thomas and Camille. Why am I talking like that? We got Thomas and Camille last week with their letters to themselves. This week it's, you know, everybody else. So what do we see next? We see Maddison playing toss with her puppy. She's playing toss the ball to Allen and let's see how many times he drops it. Okay, I'm the only one who's not shocked that Madison was a softball player. In fact, I was going to mention that she was a softball player in one of my earlier videos, but I thought, why would you say she was a softball player? She looks like a softball player. Everything about her says softball player.
What's the girl to do?
Madison talks about how she was made fun of in school, about her looks, and go figure. She didn't like Allen's looks, but you know, it's okay to be attracted or not attracted to someone. But she's really harped on his looks. I've been trying to tell y'all, Madison is not the hot girl that y'all think she is. She is exactly who those girls in middle school teased her to be. I mean, middle school's rough. Middle school's tough. I feel like most people's issues stem from middle school. At least mine stem from middle school.
Comfortable with yourself. You know why? You look like a miniature Tom Petty.
But they were boring and they were tossing the ball. It was like they were tossing the ball and talking. Then they said, let's go to the side and have a chat. Were y'all not just chatting? All right, so who cares? Next. We're going to come back to them with their letters to their younger selves. Let's just get it over with. So Madison, you know, was talking about in her younger self that, you know, she had it hard because her mom sucked. She never quite said what her mom did, but that was wrong. She never connected with her mom. I'm guessing that her mom was probably, you know, on drugs or with a dysfunctional, abusive guy or...
I got my kids, bitch! I got my kids!
Or a drinker. That's what I'm guessing, but she never quite says it. She just says that she was not connected. Okay, we're done with them for this episode of Dina the Explorer is bored with Married at First Sight. This episode. It's a filler episode, everybody. All right, let's get on to another boring duo, Juan and Carla. Okay, they're doing their letters to themselves, and Karla was basically saying how, you weren't raised to be affectionate and you learned a lesson from there, blah, 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 blah. Juan gets to the part about how at 6 months old, you were left with the babysitter and the babysitter tried to kidnap you in Colombia and Barranquilla. Okay, as someone who watches telenovelas, Juan, this is a whole telenovela story.
Maldito sea tu corazón negro.
Excuse me, cut. Did he just call me a Negro?
Y'all might be buying it. I wasn't buying it. It's like he walked away. Not a tear in sight while he's telling the story. He walked away. Then he came back with a few little, wet spots on his cheeks. It's just, I mean, your dad, his dad did have cancer and got over it and he's fine. He was 16 when his father was diagnosed with cancer. And now Hallow is 30. So his father is a cancer survivor. Praise God. But Juan, I'm still not buying your tears. Because I'm just not. Juan just seems like he is performative and trying to come off a certain way to me. And everybody hates on Karla, but Karla was looking at him like, you really did do well by overcoming all of that. Karla didn't care. Because Karla knew it was some bull. I mean, the stuff that we don't get to see. I have no proof of it, but I know we're not seeing everything.
You know what?
Anyhow. So later on, they say that, they're going to Karla's parents' house. Karla's ready to introduce Juan to her parents. However, they didn't sign up to be on TV, so we don't get to be introduced to her parents. So what was it all for? We see them later on leaving Karla's parents' house. Apparently, Karla's mother made some rib, then some short rib. She cooked a whole lot of food. It would have been nice to have seen the food that she cooked so I could judge whether or not it looked appetizing, because that's what I do.
This party's lame, Max!
But we didn't get to see that because they didn't sign the release and Karla didn't press it. Karla could have gotten a fake family, but she didn't. So they were boring. All right, let's move on. So we got the boring couples, all three of the boring couples out of the way. Let's talk about what we really want to talk about. Let's get this one out of the way. Ikechi and Emem, they said last episode that they were going to move back in. And this is where I wanted to tell you why Ikechi's really mad. It's not because he's not attracted to MM, which he is not. It's not because he feels inferior to MM, which he does. It's because Ikechi has hips. He has woman hips and he's mad about it.
I have hips. What? I wear the body shaper because I have hips.
And that's why his whole life he's mad, he's angry with women because he has hips. All right. So they moved in and he came back over and he was basically like, I'm leery. He's, planting these seeds. You got to listen to Ikechi's language. His language is very much so trying to humiliate MM, disparage MM and make her look bad from, to the world. And it's damaging because it could affect her business. This is real, Ikechi. This isn't some high school counseling job that you moved all the way from Houston to do in Chicago. Like, you couldn't be a high school counselor in Houston. You came all the way up to Chicago public school system, which is like, it's treacherous.
Chicago police responding by the units.
At this school, every time you turn around, it's fights all the time.
You decided I'm going to come up to Chicago to be a high school counselor to get people ready for college. BS. You came up to Chicago because you wanted to be on the show. Just call a thing, as Iyanla would say. Ikechi, you wanted to be on the show. And here you are telling first of all, back it up. Ikechi met up with his friend at the gym. We know Ikechi doesn't work out. We can tell by those hips he doesn't work out. They met up at a gym and he was telling, telling his story, his one-sided side of, oh man, she's aggressive. She want me to do all this, do all that, answer these questions she has for me. I just want her to get to know me. Get to know me. Don't ask me questions. Look, you don't have the luxury. You have auditioned for Married at First Sight twice. So that says you've watched the show. You know this is an accelerated process. You don't have the luxury to just like come in and casually get to know somebody without asking them a few questions. He's a douchebag, everybody. Let's call a thing again.
Camille, you're a stupid
Ikechi is a douchebag with hips, and he thinks he's smarter than everybody, but he's actually the dummy. It's the people who think they're smarter than everybody that are usually the dumbest and the last to know it in the room. And Ikechi is a jerk. So, okay, let's go back. He went to the apartment, and MM is sitting there on the couch with her makeup done. MM, if nothing else, her makeup's going to be done. That's her brand. Skin is her brand. You know, she's a nurse practitioner, but she focuses in on Botox and all those treatments, because that's what a lot of doctors are doing these days. Doctors and nurse practitioners are doing to get more money, because obviously regular medicine isn't paying what they want to be paid. So they're doing all this excess stuff. That's why you see on Married to Medicine, Dr. Jackie doing these Bio-T pills, these V shots, because there's more money in that and they don't have to charge insurance. Okay, as I digress.
Did I ever ask you for anything?
So, Ikechi is in there talking his crazy talk again. I don't feel comfortable. Again, let's listen to his language. I don't feel comfortable moving in here. I just, I feel leery being here and blah, blah, blah. You scare me, basically. He's trying to say you scare me and I don't feel safe around you. You don't feel safe around her? Why? Because she's taller than you? You think she's gonna attack you like Rasputia?
Good morning. How are you this morning?
Where the hell are you going?
What do you think this is, Ikechi? You're really trying to make this lady look bad. And she just sitting there, grinning and bearing it, because she knows she has a lot more to lose than this fool. So she's like, I received that. And he decides, I'm not going to move in. That's the best thing. And MM says, I'm going to treat him like somebody that wants to date me. You have to work hard at it. You have to put in all the effort. I'm not putting in any effort. I wish he'd stated that differently. I wish he'd just said, I'm done. I'm not putting in any effort with this fool.
I'm ready to go.
He doesn't deserve me. But no, she was nice about it. But, whatever. All right, let's get on to the piece de resistance, everybody. Now, for all of us, everybody for weeks have been saying, Michelle's a bee, she's a jerk, she's really mean to David. I hate Michelle's laugh. She's a jerk. But y'all, David showed his ass on this episode. And I've always been a little bit leery of David. I never thought he was this nice guy that everybody says. He always seemed like this bear that was like roaring. He seemed like a stereotypical meathead in a sense.
Got alpha and C. Yes, sir. You know what I'm saying?
Like nice enough, great personality, but he's up to something. And in fact, he's up to something. So Michelle and David are on their way to Mom's house outside of the city, the suburbs, maybe Indiana, maybe Southern Illinois, or maybe Wisconsin. Who knows? It looked like the suburbs outside of Chicago. They're on their way. And on the way, Michelle mentions that she got a text message from David that said, you so fine, I want to eat you up. Oh, he says, oh, that was to my cousin, she showed me some food. Really, David, that was the best you could do. After sending and unsending, you didn't think she was going to bring it up?
Dad, I don't like people playing on my phone.
You didn't come up with a better lie? You could have gone on ChatGPT and gotten a better lie than that, David. We were rooting for you, David. Though you don't have the savings and you don't make as much as she does, we were still thinking you were a good human. But you just did what many men do. You lied and you stuck to that lie, even if the lie was ridiculous. He said he was texting his cousin Denise, who was in Chinatown. And so, Michelle said, I'm going to table this because we're going to go see my mom and my family. So they went to see the family. And everybody, the funny thing, when they tell stories about Michelle, the story always starts off.
And you ain't nobody's friend. Mama.
She was a bitch. But then, she's cool. And, the funny thing, story about me. People always think I'm mean initially. She's mean. she's mean. Oh, she's okay. She's fun. You know, but Michelle is always like, she was slow to warm up. I used to say I was slow to warm up because I like to observe people before I like go all in. But as I've gotten older, I'm just like, you know what? I'm just going to go all in. Whatever. If I like you, I like you. If I don't, I don't. But Michelle was a jerk. You know, she was a jerk. She's hard to deal with. She's persnickety. She's very particular.
Camille, you're a stupid.
Clearly, by the way she handles David. You know, they were all talking. They were eating some food that didn't look very good. But, you know, David said it was good. And her best friend spoke on her behalf, saying how she's really a great girl, whatever. She's fun. So, okay, table that. So later on, back to Michelle bringing it up. Bringing that text message. Because she went for drinks with her friend. And they discussed it. She's like, it was a lie. Like, if Michelle's laughing. Like, what is so funny, Michelle? You're not laughing that much with David. But David was clearly lying to her. So she brought it up again after having drinks with her friend. What was that place called? The press room? I want to go. Well, anyhow, she brought it up. And he stuck to his lie. I'm sticking to it, he says. It was a message to my cousin, Denise. And she said, that's not a normal text message. We're not your usual people.
Wasn't me.
Well, I'm supposed to be a fool, right?
Hey. Wasn't me.
We're different. Now, I will say that sometimes, like, I have a language with my sister that we speak. We talk about things that people on the outside were like, what are y'all talking about? That's crazy. Like, you know, we equate humans to animals sometimes. But, you know, a lot of people don't understand that. But, David, that was a bold-faced lie. And then she said, have you been communicating with any other women? He was like, there's
Donna, Lynn, Pat, Lori, Shelly, Aaliyah, Rose, Brian, Darren, and you listen.
He had a whole list of women he's been communicating with. People he met on Tinder. I went for coffee with somebody today. I met up with somebody else I went to Tinder with. And she's like, is that okay, David? Do you think that's okay to go out with people, you know, when you're married? I'm like, look, Michelle, you know, he knows, and we the viewers know that you are not saying yes on decision day. So why should he stop his life because of you, who's been ragging on him every single day, going in on him, telling him he's not elevating, telling him he's not on your level, telling him he you know, everything but a child, calling him everything but a child of God. Why would he be loyal to you?
Water.
Now, I'm not condoning it because they are in a legal marriage, but yeah, I don't blame him for like getting out there and living his life. She said they even hang out on the weekend, so he's out doing his thing. David said, one monkey don't stop no show. Michelle being a monkey. And I know y'all like, don't talk about monkeys. Don't call people monkeys. Anyhow, this episode was ultra boring. And between David and Lion and Ikechi doing Ikechi things, that's all I have. So hit the like and subscribe button and drop into the comments and tell me your thoughts. What would be a better lie that David could have told her? Just curious. What's a better lie that David could have told Michelle? All right. Bye.